Yep. Welcome back to Journey to Be an Astronaut podcast, where we discuss anything and everything astronaut. Today, we're going to be discussing the International Space Station. Everything from how fast it goes, where it's going, how they keep it up there, and the inside, and what they work on. So the ISS is manned by 15 completely different nations from all over the world. So taking on a tour from the front, if you can the front airlock for the ISS, going backwards. We got the Node 2, the Columbus module, which is the European Space Agency. You have the crew quarters, you have the Destiny Laboratory, which is aft of the Node 2. You have the Unity module. That's where the CWC is. That's where they kind of store all the separate water. Like the drinking water, and the water for experiments and such. And then from there, you can take the airlock, which is where you get to the Russian side. And this is where you find the pressurized adapter or docking room. And now the Dragon. And then you have the FCB. After the FCB, you have the docking compartment, which is this is where like extra kind of storage space plus a second docking area on the Russian side. This is where the Soyuz locks up. And then you have the Progress cargo vehicle. It looks exactly like the Soyuz, but it doesn't have re-entry capability. It burns up in the atmosphere. And then you have the service module. This is where they eat, they get some water, they can exercise with the treadmill. And the bike is in the Destiny Laboratory. And this is where they make the water and oxygen and all that stuff. This is where all of the condensation, all the reused urine, and the carbon dioxide gets all used back up to be a kind of reusable system. There's a couple windows, and there's a window in front of Node 2. And then through this window you kind of can look out and you see the port side of the station, which is the left side. And you can see one of the robotic arms they have. This is where the EVA astronauts kind of latch on with their feet, and another person inside the station will move them around using the controls. And then in Node 2, which is also called the Kibo module, this is the Japanese science rack. This is where they're going to be adding more stuff as time goes on. But they kind of set up biology experiments and other kind of things around there. The crew quarters, each astronaut gets his or her, because you're in space and it's weightless, you don't need a whole bunch of room, right? So they get these little square room looking things. It's covered up by a curtain, and they get a a computer that they can set up to do, whatever they really want, honestly. Um, because astronauts do have a long days. So when they have rest time, they can talk to their family, do emails, watch a YouTube video, watch a cat play with yarn, or a dude perfect video. It's pretty cool. Forgot to bring the thing down. Bam. Okay. Alright. Yep. And there's a lot of pretty cool research things going on, which is pretty much the point. It's a research station. So yeah, this is I got this off the NASA website, and I think this isn't all of it, but I know this is a good couple of things here. So we got, in the subject of biology, they got directional and geometry cell growth. Because of zero gravity and all that stuff, they're kind of watching how stuff, multiplies and adds up. For space and Earth science, you got, because it's in low Earth orbit, 400 kilometers or so, they can collect a lot of Earth images, like glaciers, cities, and take all that with the satellites, and you got a pretty good thing going on there. They're also studying human health in long duration flights. Misha and Scott, they had a long-term mission. I don't know how long ago, and they're still doing them. So they're up in the space station for about a year, which is 12 months in space is crazy. And they're studying them, their eyes, how how their muscles are reacting, heart health especially, cardiovascular is a large danger, especially when they're under low oxygen all the time, because the number of people fluctuate while they're at the station. So the level of CO2 goes up and down. So oftentimes they're dealing with a lot of CO2 problems. And then they got physical science, that includes fire, by the way, an open flame in the middle of a space station. Don't know if that's a good idea or not, but there you go. And they're doing technology as well for long-term spaceflight. That'll do it for this episode of Journey to Be an Astronaut podcast. Stay safe, and yeah.